I've been meaning to make this video for a while. So when Gateway released, it was supposed to be this big boon for Beipi. There were new waterways to explore, interesting underwater environments with debris and clutter to swim through, and more elevated spots to jump onto or from on the shorelines. But instead of a new golden age of Beipi, we saw its player base dwindle. Many will point to its stamina as the perpetrator of this downfall, and, while it does play a role in how Beipi got in its current state, I don't think it's that simple. I believe that there are more fundamental issues that a simple stamina buff would not address. So let's start off by laying down the basics. What is Beipi, and how is it supposed to be played? Beipi is a small, agile, omnivorous semi-aquatic that can throw hands with predators within its weight class, but relies on its semi-aquatic nature to escape larger carnivores. As an omnivore, it has migrations, but is capable of surviving outside of its migration zone by eating schooling fish, hunting small AI like frogs, and foraging for crabs. To the best of my knowledge, it has 4 migrations currently: Swamp, River Delta, Big Bridge, and Highlands Eye Sector. Beipi can take on Troodon, Pteranodon, Herrera, and Juvie carnivores in a fight, but anything larger stomps them. Its most common threat, Deinosuchus, can easily kill a full-grown Beipi even as a fresh spawn. On land, it is easily outpaced by land carnivores, and in the water, it can be outswam by a Deinosuchus utilizing its lunge. Beipi is slower than terrestrial and aquatic predators in their respective environments, but it makes up for this by being faster on land than Deinosuchus and faster in the water than terrestrial predators. By hopping in the water while being chased by land carnivores and hopping out of the water to avoid Deinos, Beipi can adequately escape threats in both environments. Beipi also has a couple of interesting quirks. It is buoyant, floating to the top of water when not moving, and has the ability to cling to the bottom of rivers in order to forage for crabs and avoid floating upwards. Beipi also has the ability to breach out of water. This allows it to get air quickly, jump onto logs, ledges, and rocks on the water's edge, dodge Deinos, and swim more efficiently. While airborne, Beipi doesn't lose stamina from sprinting, allowing it to travel further before needing to rest as opposed to sprinting on the surface of the water. One quirk of the breaching mechanic is that juvie and subadult Beipis are able to breach much higher and farther than adult Beipis. Like Deinosuchus, it does not lose stam from swimming on the surface of water. In the current build, it can sprint on land and sprint on the surface of water for 2 minutes and 5 seconds. It can trot underwater for 2 minutes and 40 seconds and sprint underwater for 1 minute and 15 seconds. Utilizing breach swimming, Beipi can swim for upwards of 3 minutes. Standing, walking, and floating all regen a full stam bar in 7 minutes. Sitting regens a full stam bar in 1 minute and 45 seconds. Interestingly enough, floating and trot swimming on the surface regens stam even from 0%. With all of that established, why do people play Beipi? What is fun about it? What parts of its gameplay are fun and engaging? It can't really fight anything bigger than a Herrera, but its unique method of fleeing gives Beipi more enjoyment than other playables when running away from threats. The breach mechanic makes travel engaging and allows for interesting interactions with the environment when trying to leap onto objects and ledges. That is the core of Beipi's gameplay, a fun method of traversal. Without it, Beipi has almost nothing differentiating it from the likes of Hypsy or Dryo. So all in all, Beipi is a pretty complicated little creature. It is capable of surviving not only in its migration zones, but any waterway. It also has very good stamina stats on paper. So why is it in a bad spot? I believe it boils down to 3 factors: migrations, the downgrade to breaching as a Beipi grows, and some specific stam values. First, let's talk migrations. 90% of the time, Beipi is confined to Swamp and River Delta. Not that these are bad locations, they're actually great, but they are located right next to each other and do get tiresome after some time. Highlands and Big Bridge rarely come into rotation, and while they make for an interesting journey, the destination is rather bland. I would highly recommend adding migration zones to the waterfalls by Water Axis, Northeast Falls, and South Plains if the river in that area receives a touch-up in the future. I also think that Highlands Ice Sector and Big Bridge would be made better if a rock or two was added that Beipi could breach jump onto, someplace that would be safe from land carnivores and Danos, and could serve as a nice spot for babies to relax and nest on, but be located in spots where pteranodons and herreras could still harass them. Second, we have the fact that fully grown Beipi is just a straight downgrade of juvie and subadult Beipi. Sure, a full-grown Beipi has more health and deals more damage, but that only matters in a matchup between it and Troodon, Terra, Herrera, or juvie carnivores. Fights which are uncommon and can be entirely avoided by jumping in the water. And what does adult Beipi trade for a better matchup in niche fights? Usefulness of the breach mechanic, the core thing that makes Beipi fun. Adult Beipi has a woefully slower, shorter, and lower breach than its juvie and subadult counterparts. This means it can't jump onto higher objects that juvies and subadults can't. On top of that, it becomes completely worthless as a tool to escape Danos, as you can barely clear the water and make yourself an easy target by locking your trajectory. But it doesn't stop there. Juvie and subadult Beipi are marginally faster than adult Beipi while having a fraction of the stam cost for swimming. If adult Beipi was able to breach in the same manner as it does as a juvie and subadult, I believe it would go a long way towards making Beipi more enjoyable to play. Third, we have the most complex issue, stamina. On paper, Beipi has extremely good stam. Its sprint time on land is on the lower end, but it's a semi-aquatic, so that is to be expected. Breach swimming allows Beipi to sprint through water for a solid 3 minutes, one of the longer sprint times in the game. And on top of this, it is tied with Hipsy for having the fastest stam region time of 1 minute and 45 seconds. So why is stam still an issue? I believe it stems from how punitive the stam cost for underwater movement is, and how stam region is handled in the water. Beipi can trot underwater for 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and can only sprint underwater for an abysmal 1 minute 15 seconds. To put that in perspective, it ties with Stegosaurus for the worst sprint time in the entire game, bar an adult Deinosuchus on land. It is only 15 seconds more of sprint time than a full-grown Dano sprinting through water. This extreme stam drain really hurts Beipi, as swimming underwater is important to spot Danos and to forage for crabs. This drain also affects the effectiveness of breach swimming, as this method of travel necessitates spending intervals of time sprinting underwater. How stamina regen works in water is another factor that makes Beipi's stamina feel bad. Sure, Beipi has great regen time while sitting, but that's only while sitting, and you can only sit on land. You also don't regen stam at all while latched on to the bottom of rivers. If you want to regen stam in water, then your only option is the slowest method of stamina regeneration available, and one that puts you in an extremely vulnerable position out in the open with almost no ability to detect Danos approaching underwater. This makes Beipi's stamina feel far worse than it is, because you are forced to leave the water to regenerate stam within a reasonable time frame. I propose that Beipi should have more/improved methods to regain stamina. Sitting still on the surface of water should regen at the same rate as sitting on land. This would allow Beipi to spend more time in the water and feel less obligated to constantly return to land for stamina. Players would have to weigh the risk of being a literal sitting duck for Danos, as opposed to dealing with land carnivores, when choosing how and where to regain stamina. We could go even further and give Beipi Danos' ability to regen stam while swimming underwater, or even regen stam while latched to river bottoms, but hey, you know what? I can see that being a little bit too much. Better migrations, a more effective breach when full grown, and a few stamina tweaks would go a long way towards making Beipi a far more enjoyable playable. So, what are your thoughts on Beipi? Feel free to comment down below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.